of my skin because I have doctors who listen to me. And President Trump's about to put onto the court a justice who told Senator Cory Booker that she had never read. She could not cite one article she had ever read about justice and race. I mean, this is some pretty deep stuff. And for me, it's super duper personal because I got this disease in the first week of March. In the last week of February, I attended, for my job, a conference called the Conservative Political Action Conference. And it was later revealed that people in attendance there had active COVID. Now, I'll never know for sure if that's where I got it, but you can rest assured that there's a pretty good chance. And what I saw on that stage, I saw the president himself say the virus was under control 3 weeks after he told Bob Woodward that it was deadly and that you could die from breathing it. I saw, who's the economic advisor? Larry Kudlow. Larry Kudlow said, you know, the virus isn't going to do anything bad to our economy, not compared to that socialism those Democrats are selling. You know, if only. I mean, it's just an alternate universe, you know, and on, one after the other of the president's advisors, some of whom are now his former advisors, and came up on the stage and sold this message to us. And I came home, and a week later, bingo. So, all that is to say that, you know, I am one of the lucky ones. I do not mean to be making light of that. I truly am. I don't know how many other people are dealing with what I'm dealing with, which is like, I fell down in my living room the other day because I was dizzy. I'm having cognitive difficulties with reading and writing, which is a little it's a little challenging for an editor and a writer. I'm having, I had a fever for more than 100 days. I'm still here, and I am getting better, but it's slow, and I have support. So this thing has real stakes, real stakes. If we have 220,000 deaths right now, how many more people than that are living this way? And how many of them don't have the support I have? Probably most. So I want to thank you all for coming out today, and being there for all of the multitudes that you really do represent in shining a light on what this nomination means for America and the very contempt it shows for the people of the United States. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cedric Lawson, and I'm Field Director with the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. The Leadership Conference is a coalition of over 220 national organizations working across a number of civil and human rights, working to make America as good as its ideals. With Daily Kos, I am excited to share the over 3.24 million petition signatures from concerned individuals across the country urging senators to oppose the Barrett nomination, and the countless people who called into Senate office this past month. I want to be clear with everyone that It wasn't just the Leadership Conference Coalition. It wasn't just civil and human rights organizations, environmental organizations, gun violence organizations, coalitions across our country converged in order to show our power in this moment, particularly before an election. This is a moment that we cannot forget. And make no mistake, we, the millions of people, know what's on the line. We know that access to health care is on the line. Reproductive rights are on the line. Reproductive freedoms are on the line. Voting rights, LGBTQ equality, immigrant justice, criminal justice, justice reform, disability rights, and so much more. We will not back down in this moment. Too much is at stake at this moment. Not until the court truly becomes our court. Senate Republicans, yes, they may rush through this nomination in a matter of days. We saw what happened this morning in the Senate Judiciary Committee. But together, this coalition, better put this movement, will continue fighting for a court that works for all of us, one that upholds our highest values, and one that truly seeks to achieve equal justice under the law. And as a friendly heads up, these petitions today just now went to the Senate Majority Leader's office, Senator McConnell, in addition to senators from the states of Alaska, Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Maine, North Carolina, and Utah. And across the country today and moving into the weekend prior to the vote, we will continue to amplify these petition numbers that are specific to each state. We know that the power here is a power that they have to pay attention to. We know that it's not over until it's over. So we will continue to escalate. We will continue to place pressure on senators to let them know that all of our issues are on the line, and we are aware of what is at stake. Thank you.
This is a COVID-friendly house. All right. The people united will never be divided. 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 Thanks, y'all. Love to keep that energy up. So it is my honor to introduce Senator Blumenthal from Connecticut.
Thank you all. You are here bearing witness. You are here demanding justice. You are here demanding democracy. And let me tell you, what's happening in this building is not democracy. It is not what the American people want. And I am hearing from the people of Connecticut and all around the country how scared and angry they are. Why don't you just let me finish and then you can talk. I want to say to everyone who is here today, we hear you. You are the real people who will be affected.
The Democrats collaborated. You collaborated with this process. You showed up and legitimized a fundamentally illegitimate process. Donald Trump is stealing the election. He's putting Amy Coney Barrett on there. And people need to come into the streets. We need to be in the streets. The Democrats will not stop a fascist America. It is up to the people to come into the streets. No more waiting. Go to the ballot box and vote against Trump, but be in the streets because there is a fascist coup going on right now. There is a fascist coup.
Thank you. So I agree. We should vote. I agree that Americans should go to the ballot. And they are doing it right now. In fact, that is a reason why this process is undemocratic. It should not be done, literally, while Americans are voting, because they deserve a say in choosing the next justice. The next Senate and the next president should be the one choosing the next justice after November 3rd, after America votes, after the American people have their say. Yeah. And I just want to repeat, just so everybody hears it more than once, America should be grateful to all of the groups, the advocates, the individuals who have stepped forward with such courage. I brought in that hearing room Connor Curran, who suffers from a horrific form of muscular dystrophy and who will go without the treatment he needs if the Affordable Care Act's protection for people with pre-existing conditions is decimated. And Amy Coney Barrett has passed the Trump test, the strong test, that she will overturn the ACA. She's passed the strong test that she would overturn Roe v. Wade and the ACA and fundamental rights relating to voting and workplace safety and gun violence prevention. Real people into that room included Tracy in Connecticut, who needed and wanted IVF treatment. And Amy Coney Barrett has aligned herself with a group that would eliminate women's control over their own bodies and criminalize IVF treatment. She has stated that the legacy of Roe v. Wade is barbaric. She has indicated in her writings that she would deny protection to people with pre-existing conditions. So Connor Curran would be denied, and Tracy would be denied the treatment that she wants. Rights and real lives are at stake. You are not only bearing witness, you are telling America what's really important here, which is real lives. And my Republican colleagues don't want to face that truth. They are exercising a raw power play. They're doing it because they can. They have the votes today. But we need to make sure they don't have the votes when it goes to the floor, if we can, and we need to keep fighting. We are not done yet. We are not done yet. You are helping to save democracy. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for being here today as we make one of our last stands against the sham of a confirmation. My name is Sonia Spoo, and I am a campaign director and the director of reproductive rights campaigns at Ultraviolet, a 1.2 million member strong feminist advocacy organization that works to change the political, social, and cultural needle for a feminist future. And for many reasons today, I am angry. I am angry that this illegitimate, impeached, sadistic, and corrupt president and his cowardly enablers in Congress, like Mitch McConnell and Senators Lindsey Graham, get to further taint the hollow, if complicated, halls of the Supreme Court. I'm going to take this off, actually, if I can. The conservative project to claw back each and every single civil and human rights gain of the past 50 years is reaching its final crescendo in the confirmation of Judge Barrett, a guaranteed vote against women. Let me be very clear. This isn't us being hysterical. We are not hysterical. They like to accuse us of being hysterical, to gaslight us with their rhetoric. But let us be clear, these are stone cold facts. We don't need to keep asking Barrett questions to know where she stands. We know her record. We know that she finds a woman's or person's ability to decide if or when to become a parent or expand their family to be quote-unquote barbaric. We know that she has a limited imagination about how we form our families and is opposed to things like IVF, which is critical to millions having the families they want and are called to. We know she's opposed to students organizing on their campuses to have access to basic health care like birth control. We know she actively steals justice from survivors of sexual assault and abuse. We know that she thinks Justice Roberts erred in his decision to save the ACA and save health care for millions of people. We know that she thinks the N-word, isn't that bad and doesn't constitute a hostile work environment. We know that she believes that cops have the right to brutalize our black and brown bodies and that breathing is a privilege and not a God-given right. We know who Amy Coney Barrett is, just like we know who Donald Trump is.
Yeah, there you go.
The record is clear, and again, we are not being hysterical. So do not let our so-called elected officials in D.C. try to gaslight us. We know the truth. And we know we are powerful, which is why we are gathering here and across the country, which is why we are voting in the millions, in the weeks before this election. Amy Coney Barrett is a fevered realization of the terrifying dreams of the far-right movement, who instead of embracing progress and justice, sneered and turned their backs on us, making a choice instead to lean into prejudice, to gin up hate and fear, and to stoke hate for their fellow Americans. Honestly, I pity them. I pity their limited imaginations, that they wallow in fear instead of embracing a brighter future for us all. They have worked for 50 years to balance the books of their power on the backs of women, especially black, brown, indigenous women. And they have their closers in Trump and Barrett. But let's be clear, Trump nor Barrett is not the first act. They are the third act in this deeply tragic play. Trump didn't originate racism or misogyny. Those two things are deeply embedded in the very cornerstone of our country since its founding, and affirmed even at times by the Supreme Court. The originalism held so dear by the likes of Barrett and Scalia and all those folks always saw justice as originating, first and foremost, in white power, not in collective justice. Let's not ignore our own history, the history of white women, especially, always being the most persuasive surrogates of white patriarchal power. It has been the might and fight of black, brown, and indigenous people and women especially who have ever put this country on the path toward resolving its debt towards its people and paying the note for freedom. The sad thing about the likes of Barrett is that instead of leaning into freedom and liberation with us, she attaches herself to this white male power because the people like her see power not as collective, but as hierarchical, and it doesn't matter who she kicks on her way up. I can't think of a more insulting pick for the seat of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because let me make this very clear. We are not asking for a women justice. We are asking for justice for women.
Yeah.
But I am still filled with hope. No matter what the ultimate vote is here today or on Sunday or Monday, no matter if Barrett ends up on the court, no matter how much they try to usurp our power, the fact of the matter is we are powerful. We will work as they try to deny our rights, to fill the streets, to organize, to mobilize, and to take care of each other because we already do. COVID has ravaged our communities, and our government has oftentimes abandoned us, but we've been able to look for our friends, our neighbors, our families to take care of us. We wait for hours in line because they may try to suppress us, but we refuse to let them stop us. There is so much on the line with this nomination and with this election, and I'm so proud of the work that has already happened. And so I stand here one more time as an advocate, as a black woman, as a campaigner, and as an American, and as an Arizonan, to ask my own senator, Senator Martha McSally, to for once in her pathetic life do the right thing and vote against a sham confirmation. But if she will not, we will remember come November 3rd and vote her out, and everyone who has taken part in this ridiculous sham of a confirmation, and you try to usurp our right to democratic governments. So thank you for the past 4 years of work. Thank you for the past work this election season. Thank you for your work on the SCOTUS fight. Thank you for the years and generations of work we are leaning into and learning from as we continue to fight for equality and justice. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you for your work.
But I'm telling you, no, actually, they're hijacking the lives of millions of women. They are.
Okay, so you're
They showed up. They showed up.
Hey, Tatiana, let's get on stage.
All right.
Hey, y'all.
Hey ho! Hey ho! ACB has got to go! Hey ho! Hey ho! ACB has got to go! Hey ho! Hey ho! ACB has got to go! Hey ho! Hey ho! ACB has got to go! Hey ho! Hey ho! ACB has got to go! Hey ho! Hey ho! ACB has got to go! All right. Show me what democracy looks like. 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 The people, united, will never be divided. 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 All right, thanks y'all. Let's keep that energy up.
Good morning. My name is Jess Morales-Ricchetto. I'm the Civic Engagement Director at the National Domestic Workers Alliance. And I bring with me the greetings and also hope of the 2.5 million domestic workers, the women who clean our houses, the women who make our food, the women who take care of our children, the women who take care of our elders. And in moments like these, when I'm angry, when I'm not sure, and when I know that I need to dig even deeper, I think of those women. And even though I'm on this stage, they're really on this stage. These are people who are the most vulnerable and most marginalized in our society, and every single day they provide care. The care that keeps our economy going, the care that helps raise our children, the care that keeps our elders safe. And in this moment, I'm thinking about all of these women, and I'm thinking about the ways in which they care for our families. And I'm thinking about the ways in which Amy Coney Barrett cares only for an ideology that is on its last gasp of air. In these moments, I wonder if I have it in me to keep going for 12 more days or 12 more years or 20 more years. And I do, because I believe, even in darkness, even in one of the worst times in our country's history, that there are extraordinary people. That there are people who are standing up every single day. That there are people who are coming out in a pandemic to participate in our democracy. And despite the fact that the Supreme Court has never been less of an example of our democracy than it is today, I know that we will win. I believe that we will win. And it probably won't happen today, and it may not happen next year,
believe so deeply that it will happen in November, it will happen in December, it will happen the year after that, it will happen in 20 years, because we are winning. Our ideas, our people, our leaders, and more than anything, the millions of people who have voted and the millions of people who will vote. And more than that, the millions of people who will wake up every single day to make our democracy better, to make it actually be what we want, and to ensure that in this lifetime and in the next lifetime, our country lives up to its values, are what I'm thinking about today. So no matter what happens on the Supreme Court, no matter what title we have to address Amy Coney Barrett by, I believe deeply that she is not what matters. We are what matters, and our vision for the country is what matters. Thank you.
All right. I'm from Washington State, the Pacific Northwest, so I would love to introduce somebody else from the Pacific Northwest, Senator Merkley.
Okay, I need you all to help me out a little bit here. Do we want government buying for the powerful or buying for the people? For the powerful or the people? The powerful or the people? Okay, good. I'm in the right place. But at this moment, this is the question that confronts our country. Because what we have in the process going on in the building behind us, in the Senate, is all about destroying the vision, the we the people vision of our Constitution. Now, I happen to really like the we the people vision of our Constitution. Do you like it? Do we like the Senate Republicans deciding to roll right over the top of it and corrupt the court for the powerful? No. Hell no. So that's why we're out here talking today. And that's why we're taking every single action we can, because we are trying to set the stage for a potential outbreak of integrity. Wouldn't that be incredible? We have a whole group of 53 senators. Almost all of them were here 4 years ago. And they said this, they said, we believe that we should listen to the people of the United States during an election year before there's a debate or a vote on a nominee. Do you remember that? They said it was an issue of deep principle. They said that they would stand by that principle in any given year. Well, what are they doing today? They're violating that principle straight out. They're saying, we don't want to listen to the people. We want to, in fact, hold the vote before the election so that the people cannot have an impact on our country and the preservation of the vision of equal justice under law. Now, if we look at the Supreme Court right behind us, and you look over the portal, you'll see those words carved in there, equal justice under law. How about that we actually fight day and night for equal justice under law? Are you ready to fight? So that fight's going to continue because maybe, just maybe, with thousands of Americans calling their Republican legislators, their Republican senators, maybe a few of them will say, you know what? I'm going to stand by the principle that I laid out 4 years ago, and I'm not going to vote to move this nomination forward, and we're going to wait and see what the people say on November 3rd. Are we willing to fight for that? So I want to tell you what. I'm hoping that outbreak of integrity happens, but we know that right now we need kind of a lightning strike moment on some group of senators for it to occur. So that's why I'm wearing this, a mask that says, what? Vote. Because if the court is corrupted, it makes the November 3rd election all that much more important. It means that we need a House and a Senate and an Oval Office dedicated to the vision of equal justice under the law. It means we need a House and a Senate and an Oval Office dedicated to the vision of government of, by, and for the people. Yes? So, Think about this like a ball game. First base is that group of majority, the grassroots America, taking over, everybody voting. We win that vision on November 3rd, but that's just like first base. Second base, we have to unrig the Senate. Priorities by the Republicans take 51 votes. Priorities for the people that Democrats put forward take 60 votes. They're subject to the McConnell veto. Shall we strike down the McConnell veto? Be ready to fight for that. Because if we do that, we can then pass the For the People Act that takes on gerrymandering, voter suppression, and dark money. We can end the corruption of future elections by passing the For the People Act. Let's fight for that. And then between January and July, let's pass massive reforms on health care, on housing, on education, on living wage jobs, on infrastructure, on the DREAM Act, on the Equality Act, so our LGBT community no longer has doors slammed in their face across America, full opportunity for all. And let's take on climate chaos. And then with those future elections that are unrigged, let's retake and restore a court system in America that fights for the vision of our Constitution instead of riding over the top of it. Thank you for being here in the fight. We have to mobilize. We have to fight in such a determined fashion because we are on the brink of unending government buying for the powerful. We have a chance to turn that around. We have to do that. We have to do it this November 3rd. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. I can hear you. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. My name is Gustavo Torres, and I am the Executive Director of CASA, and today I'm representing CPD. Look at this. Three million signatures have been delivered. 3 million. To communicate very clearly that this is not our priority. We have, and the American people have different priorities. I can't believe that we are speaking about ACB right now, in the middle of a pandemic. I can't believe that we are speaking about confirmation of somebody who don't support the Dreamers, who are going to accept the separation of our families and confirm the separation of our families. I can't believe that we are speaking about that today, when we have 220,000 people dead because of the pandemic, when we have almost 9 million people who have been impacted and infected by this virus. I can't believe that we are speaking about that today. I can't believe that the Republican senators are not speaking about a package to resolve this crisis. 12 days before the elections, 40 million people already spoke out. And we are going to confront somebody who doesn't support women's right to choose? I can't believe that. Totally unacceptable. Today, I am here to let you know that we are going to fight back, that we are going to win these elections to make sure that we legislate and change some policies that is impacting our families and our communities. I want to say thanks to the Judiciary Committee, people from the Democratic Party who boycott the confirmation today. Thank you. And I am calling right now all of the senators to do the same thing. Right there in the floor in the Senate. We really do. We have to send a very strong message. Because you know what? People every single day are resisting with courage. They are fighting back, and we need to do the same thing. So today, on behalf of CPD, Casa in Action, and the Latino and immigrant community, we say we stand together. We stand together to make sure that we are going to win these elections. Thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias. ¿Se puede? I can hear you. ¿Se puede? One more time. ¿Se puede? Thank you very much. Oh, Senator Whitehouse, where are you? Please join us. One of the extraordinary champions also. He's going to speak about that and why they make a decision that we make. Senator, thank you so much. Give me your file. There you go.
So thank you all for being here, both those who are here on the Capitol lawn and those who are watching us over the internet. One of the nice things about small COVID-sized rallies is that we have a chance to talk to each other like people and discuss what's going on. And what I would like to say is that it is very abnormal and very wrong when for three straight nominations now, big special interests have been able to buy anonymously a seat at the table where Supreme Court justices are selected. It happened to be the Federalist Society. I don't care if it's the Girl Scouts. When the president says, I'm handing over my selection process to a private organization, and that organization then takes huge anonymous donations, that is a bad thing. And when $15 million, $17 million checks are written by anonymous donors to support the political campaign for those nominees, that is a bad thing. And when Republicans, who are very likely the beneficiaries of political donations from those same big special interests, are breaking every rule, every norm, every practice, including ones they set up themselves in the Senate to push those nominees through, that is a sign that something has gone very, very wrong. It isn't just Judge Barrett. Each of these problems has been the case in the last three nominees. Garland for Gorsuch, Kavanaugh through his troubled nomination, and now Barrett. 3 times, big special interests anonymously paying to get at the table, big special interests anonymously paying for the campaigns, and Republicans rolling over and breaking the rules of the Senate to get the job done for the big special interests. I feel and share the outrage that so many of you feel about what is happening to Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat. But I'm here to tell you that outrage is not enough. Persistence is going to matter. Investigation is going to matter. Getting to the bottom of what actually has been taking place here is going to matter. So please bear with us, support us as we do the work of finding out what went wrong, who is behind it, and what it means for our court and for our future. Thank you very, very much.
Let's hear it for Senator Whitehouse. Thank you so much. Thank you for your leadership. I'm Ronna Epting. I'm the Executive Director of Move On. We are millions members strong, 15 million members all over this country. And we are just regular folks who take action every day in our communities to make this world the place that we know it can be, a place where all of us can thrive, where all of us are welcome, where all of us are part of this democracy. I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm going to make this short and sweet because I want to introduce Senator Schumer. Senator Schumer has tirelessly led the fight to oppose this nomination and stand up to this outrageous, shameful, and dangerous power grab by Republicans. He is a man who's fought alongside us to protect the Affordable Care Act and our rights and freedoms. And he's led through the complexities of leading a minority in the Senate under the Trump administration. So I'm very grateful for his leadership. I'm grateful he's with us here today. And I want to invite the senator to come say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. We are fighting the fight. We must. And let me just tell you what this means in personal terms. So we were having our Rosh Hashanah, our Jewish New Year's dinner, when we heard that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died. My daughter was sitting next to her wife, and they were wondering if their right to marriage might be taken away or curtailed. My older daughter, who has a 20-month-old son, my grandson, she's a big climate person, was worried that her son, 20 months, would never see the beauty of the globe that we were able to see. My wife remembered the days before Roe, when women didn't control their own bodies and had to do terrible things, forced by a male-dominated society and male-dominated laws. And my mother, who was 92 and has Parkinson's, wondered if her health care would be taken away. In one little moment, it was so clear what this nomination means. What this nomination means. It means that people's health care could be ripped from them. It means that 130 million Americans with pre-existing conditions would be at the mercy of insurance companies. A mother, a father who had a son or a daughter who had cancer could be told by any insurance company, we're not taking you, and they'd have to watch their child suffer with no real health insurance and no hope for a cure. This is just an awful nomination. The hard right, as Sheldon Whitehouse has so ably documented, the hard right in America, they know they could never get their right-wing agenda through a legislative body. And so they have endeavored to control the courts, an unelected body, to move the clock back 100 years. They don't want to pay any taxes. They don't want to see government do good things for people, like health care. They've made an alliance with those who don't believe in the freedom of women to choose, who don't believe in the freedom of people to marry, and they are trying to push this agenda through in the most partisan, obnoxious, illicit hearing and process that we have seen. The hypocrisy of Mitch McConnell and the Republicans is towering. When Merrick Garland came forward, it was 8 months before an election. They said, no, let's wait. Now we have a vacancy. While an election is ongoing, they say, let's rush it through. Because they know they can only achieve that horrible right-wing agenda through the courts. So we will fight this with every tool we have. McConnell has defiled the Senate. The number of tools in the toolbox are fewer. The sharpness is fewer as well. But every opportunity we have, we will do whatever we can to stop this nomination. Today, the Judiciary Committee members boycotted the illicit markup. It was a great move. The rules of the Judiciary Committee say you need 2 Democrats to report someone out. But Lindsey Graham steamrolled through the rules, didn't even pay attention, just as McConnell has steamrolled through every rule, decency, value, and honor. He has so defiled the Senate, it will never, it was low enough before he started, but it's even lower now. So we will fight this fight. We will fight it here in the Congress, and we will fight it at the ballot box on November 3rd and kick Trump out kick McConnell out, take back the country, and move forward in every way we can. Thank you for fighting the fight. We will win.
Thank you, Senator Schumer. Thank you for everyone that's joined us this afternoon. I have the honor of introducing our next senator from my home state of Maryland, Senator Van Hollen, who will be with us here to say a few words about the fight in the Senate that he's been leading.
I want to thank all of you who are gathered here, and I know because of social distancing, we also have lots of people tuning in from around the country at this critical moment, this moment of reckoning for our country. As we gather here, we are mourning the death of over 220,000 of our fellow Americans, the highest death toll from COVID-19 in the entire world. And it didn't have to be this way. This is the consequence of a president, President Trump, who knew how severe and dangerous this coronavirus is, but decided to ignore it, to pretend it would just go away, that it would miraculously disappear, and told people to do things like drink bleach. And as a result of that, we have thousands of Americans who were dead who didn't have to be. It's simple. He lied to the country, and as a result, thousands of people have died. And now at this moment, instead of rallying the country together to pass emergency relief for the people who are hurting from COVID-19 and all the economic pain that has been caused, unnecessary economic pain from Trump's gross negligence and active indifference. Instead of focusing on the HEROES Act, which Speaker Pelosi and the House have passed twice now, instead of that, we have Mitch McConnell and Republican senators and the Trump administration trying to illegitimately jam through a Supreme Court nominee to try to pack the court with ideological right-wingers so that they can enact through the courts the agenda that they were unsuccessful in enacting through the democratic process here in the United States Congress. And we all know that what's first up on their agenda is dismantling the Affordable Care Act. That case will be heard right across the street here 1 week after the election. And we know that Judge Barrett is a torpedo aimed at the Affordable Care Act. We know that for two reasons. One, Donald Trump said he was going to appoint someone to the Supreme Court who was going to destroy the Affordable Care Act, who was going to undo the work of what he called Justice Roberts' wrong decision. And we also know that because of Amy Coney Barrett's own writings that show that she was critical of that decision by the Supreme Court. So you've got Republican attorney generals backed by Trump and Attorney General Barr who have been working very hard through the courts to try to destroy the Affordable Care Act. And the consequences are going to be terrible for the American people because you've got over 130 million Americans who are protected by the pre-existing condition protections in the Affordable Care Act. 30 million Americans who are directly benefiting from the Affordable Care Act. Millions and millions of seniors who benefit from closing the prescription drug donut hole. And here we are in the middle of a pandemic where over 8 million Americans have contracted COVID-19, which is also a pre-existing condition. And instead of focusing on relief, you have Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump focusing on destroying the Affordable Care Act and those protections. So we're here to fight to the bitter end to stop this miscarriage of justice. They have obviously changed the rules of the game from the ones they applied to President Obama, and now, closer to an election than any other time in American history, they're trying to jam through this court nominee to strike down the Affordable Care Act, and that's just the beginning. They also want Judge Barrett to strike down woman's right to choose under Roe v. Wade. And we need to make sure that doesn't happen. I remember when I first got into Maryland politics in 1990, we were worried about the court then striking down Roe v. Wade. And we barely averted that at that time. Now we've got another effort to do through the court something that is opposed by the American people. So I will just close with this. I know the hour is late to stop this, but I will just remind all of us that I'll remind all of us that what we did with the Affordable Care Act was we saved it in the end by one vote in the United States Senate. And so nothing is over until it's over. We will leave no stone unturned, but we're calling upon the American people to call their senators right at the last minute, say, don't take away my health care protections, don't take away my right to choose, don't stack and pack the court with someone who's going to take away workers' rights and be a tool for big corporations. Do the right thing, and we will hold you accountable. We will hold you accountable at the ballot box. We'll hold you accountable for your vote at this moment in American history. Thank all of you for being here. Let's make sure that we fight to the very end, and importantly, that we hold everybody accountable for their decisions that will do great harm to the American people if they don't turn around and vote the right way. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, Senator Van Hollen. We really appreciate that, y'all. We have people that are fighting for us in the inside, and we know that these issues are impactful for all of us, right? 220,000 people. That's how many people have died because of this pandemic that we're in and the president's negligence in not protecting us. 8 million people. That's how many people this virus has affected in this country due to these people, due to our president not protecting us, right? So we need people in there fighting for us. We need to have COVID relief, but instead we have a rushed nomination that will ensure that our rights are being taken away. But we need to hear from the people that this will affect, right? So it is my absolute honor to introduce to you the people, right? So Brittany House is our patient advocate from Planned Parenthood Action Funds, and I am so glad to introduce her to talk to you about her story.
Good afternoon. My name is Brittany House, and I live here in Washington, D.C. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, in a two-parent Baptist household and attended a single-sex Catholic school. Between my family and education, I learned the values of family planning, femininity, financial stability, and abstinence. Due to my upbringing and education, I always knew what I would do if I had an unwanted pregnancy. When I found out I was 2.5 months pregnant in 2012, I made the decision to have an abortion. 3.5 months prior, I had just graduated from Howard University, started working for a government agency, moved into an apartment with 3 roommates, and I was with a partner with whom I didn't see a loving future. I went to Planned Parenthood at 16th Street. That day, I left Planned Parenthood with a prescription for antibiotics to complete my medicinal abortion, a prescription for NuvaRing birth control, and sound medical school advice. I also left Planned Parenthood that day with my choice respected. Because I was in D.C., I wasn't forced by state or local government to wait 24, 48, or 72 hours to make a decision I had already known. I didn't have to undergo a medical unnecessary ultrasound, and I didn't have to drive hours, miles, or states away to receive the care that I needed. It should be that simple for everyone. Safe legal access to abortion is a right, no matter who you are, where you live, or how much money you make. I made the best decision for me. I received the care that I needed, and I'm living the life that I want. Today, I stand before you as a master's in public health candidate, a future doctor, and I'm in a loving relationship with a partner with whom I see a future. Again, I wouldn't have any of those things if it weren't for safe legal access to abortion. I am so grateful for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg for standing up for women like me. She was instrumental in ensuring that women like me could access abortion safely and legally. I want to extend my deepest condolences to her family, and I also want to thank her for holding on for us. However, access to sexual and reproductive health is holding on by a string. We should not have to depend on one woman to hold access to this care on her back. I am fed up and I am tired. I am fed up because Republicans are constantly contradicting themselves. They delayed Merrick Garland's nomination for over a year due to an upcoming election, and now, less than 2 weeks before another presidential election, they are rushing to fill Justice Ginsburg's vacancy. I am tired because, yet again, my access to health care is being politicized. During a pandemic, I have to worry about contracting COVID-19, being Black, and now being a woman. My intersections should not and will not be marginalized, infringed upon, or up for debate. And being a Black woman, to me, is not up for debate. With the outcome of Breonna Taylor's case, and throughout history, we have seen that the Black woman is the most disrespected in the world. We cannot gamble our lives because of a Supreme Court nomination being rushed through. My livelihood and my autonomy should not and does not depend on the white men in the Oval Office or the Senate rushing to push this confirmation through. This is why we must urge our senators and let them know that we will not stand for this. They must wait to push this confirmation through until after Inauguration Day in January. Right now, it is time to get information. We must let our voices be heard and call our senators and let them know we will not stand for this. Let's mobilize. Thank you.
Okay, next up is someone who needs no introduction, but if I were to give her the 5-second one, her picture appears in the dictionary when you look up the term principled fighter, someone who has been with us and always with us since the beginning of this sham process, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand from the great state of New York.
Thank you. Thank you, Elise, for your fearless leadership and your determination to be heard and to never give up. It makes a difference. I'm so grateful to be here. Seeing so many people who care so deeply gives me hope. You're here because you know what's at stake. Because you know the future of this court and the future of this country are one in the same. Because you know that your voice and that your government should be listening to you. Right now, too many members of Congress, particularly the Republican members of Congress, are not listening to the American people. They are not listening to the 8 million Americans who have fallen into poverty because of this pandemic, or the parents who are in lines for food banks because they cannot feed their children, or the small business owners who are having to shutter their doors, never to reopen again. They're not listening to the majority of Americans who've made it clear they would like the next president to fill this seat. They are not listening because they know this is their last chance to impose their extreme conservative views on the entire country. So instead of listening to what you want, they're rushing to confirm a Supreme Court justice who is wildly out of step with the American people. These are the same senators who denied Merrick Garland hearings because his nomination was supposedly too close to an election. That was in March. We are now in October. It is soon going to be November, but that doesn't seem too close to an election for Mitch McConnell. The hypocrisy is stunning. I am mobilizing you and every American to speak out because that's the power of our voice. Our voice is our power. Our voice is our power, and we know why they're rushing, because they know this election election is looming, and they will lose their majority in the Senate, and they will lose their ability to impose their will on the entire American people. They want to seat Judge Barrett now so that she can rule on a case in November that will take away access for 129 million Americans who do not have access to health care if they take away the Affordable Care Act. 129 million Americans who have pre-existing conditions. How many family members and loved ones do you know who has a pre-existing condition? How many people contracted COVID and now have a pre-existing condition? It is a life and death issue for millions of Americans. One such New Yorker, Ali Murata, she has type 1 diabetes. Imagine if she cannot get access to the insulin that keeps her alive. Imagine that she cannot get access to the health care that she needs. Imagine if she made too much to qualify for Medicaid. She knows what it feels like. She was uninsured from December to March and had to ration her insulin, putting her life at risk. It was only when the pandemic started and she lost all of her income that she was able to qualify for Medicaid, the essential plan in New York's marketplace that allowed her to access that life-sustaining medication. If the ACA is repealed, Allie will lose her coverage. She's not alone. I have a friend named Kyle who lives with Down syndrome, and his dad, Bill, has been looking after him. But he too has multiple pre-existing conditions. Bill works part-time to help Kyle, who needs 24/7 care. They're worried about the cuts to Medicaid, which could affect Kyle's entire life. Right now, he has job coaching, so he can actually go and work in a pizza parlor and not only earn a wage, but bring joy to all his coworkers who love seeing Kyle at work. If we repeal the ACA because of Judge Barrett, then that would not be available to Kyle. Rushing to seat this nominee means rushing to put Allie's life and Kyle's life and millions of Americans' lives in danger, and it furthers their extreme conservative agenda. And it is extreme. Their agenda is to seat a nominee who, quote, called Roe v. Wade barbaric, when nearly 8 in 10 Americans believe that it is a fundamental human and civil right for women to make decisions about their bodies, to decide when they're having children, how many children they're having, under what circumstances they are having children. And that requires access to abortion services for those who need it. A nominee who referred to sexual orientation as a preference. And a nominee who is using today outdated but truly harmful when 2 in 3 Americans believe in marriage equality. A nominee who refused to admit climate change is settled science and not a controversial issue, when 99% of all scientists and 81% of Americans agree that humans are drivers of global warming. Where is the common sense? The American people believe in access to reproductive care, in equal rights for our LGBT community, and we believe in science. And those that believe that this seat should be filled by a justice who doesn't share those views, it is unconscionable. The next justice should be appointed by the next president and confirmed by the next Senate. This is the wrong judge for this seat, and it's the wrong process for a lifetime appointment. It's hypocritical, dangerous, and it is not what the American people want. Your rights hang in the balance. Your voices should not be silenced. I will not participate in this rushed sham. I will not support confirming this judge. this judge who is so clearly unfit for the Supreme Court.